Hello, I am Richard A. Boxall, and this is my short and almost daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily-ish.
You're listening to the diary of a wannabe writer, Season 3.
Hello, today is Thursday the 23rd of July 2026. Welcome to the show. Now, sorry you didn't get one yesterday. There is a legitimate reason, fairly. You know my rules about basically it's got to be at least recorded on the day that it's due to come out. Well, what happened yesterday was I went to visit a friend in London. We went to see, what did we go to? We went to see Jack and the Beanstalk, a kids' pantomime basically, in Kew Gardens, and it was a lot of fun, and it didn't go on for too long. The one they did last year was a little bit long, but yeah, and it was just a bit of a laugh, as they say. And then I went back and we had some food, and well, we went to a restaurant and had some food, and I left at about 10 o'clock, and it takes 90 minutes to get home, so I should have arrived at 11:30, and my plan was to release a late podcast. And then when I got to the M1, suddenly they closed two junctions and had a diversion, so suddenly my arrival time has changed from 11:30 to 11:45. And by the time I'd gone via the diversion to go to the point where they wanted you to rejoin the motorway, they'd then closed that bit off, and there was another diversion. So it was about 6 junctions closed in all, and it took bloody forever. Now, I did consider pulling over at a petrol station and recording the podcast on the way, but it took me 2.5 hours to get home, and I kind of, at that point, I just wanted to get home, which means I didn't get it recorded before midnight, which is why I didn't do one yesterday, so sorry about that. But my plans today, and I said this during my live stream the other day before yesterday, was to do a live stream at 9 o'clock and try and get a decent chunk of writing done. And thankfully, I did just that. So I worked on chapter 30, which is the penultimate chapter of Self-Portrait. There was actually one of my regulars came, there was a problem with the text. So what happens is people can send me messages and they normally come up on the screen so I can see them. But I also normally have my mobile phone set so that the messages come up on there as well. But I had to talk to a friend of mine who had something going on. So I didn't manage to do that. I didn't manage to have it up on my mobile. And then I forgot to check on on the TV screen. So basically, by the time somebody who's a regular listener, hello, you know who you are, had sent me a couple of messages, I didn't even notice them for about 40 minutes, and then I think it'd gone. So sorry about that, but it was very bitty because I kept having to make phone calls and deal with things, and so I ended up, I think, doing, oh yes, and because I was so annoyed that I hadn't caught those messages, I actually ended the stream after about an hour and a half and restarted the computer, and then did a second stream during which the text was working, and actually caught up with someone I haven't seen for ages online, haven't written online. I had a call of about 5 people who regularly visit my streams, and since I've been back in the last week, all 5 of them have popped in, which is just lovely. Anyway, so I wrote I'd set myself a target of around 4,100 words. That's the total word count, so that's 2,000 words in that session. I managed about 1,700, but that was absolutely fine because my plan was later to go and see Tani Campbell, and then we were going to sit in a coffee shop and do a bit more writing. And that did happen. We met, we did the things we needed to do, and then we went to a bookshop and sat down and did some writing, and neither of us were in the mood. In my case, I think it was because I'd already written a lot, and I didn't write nothing. I wrote another few hundred words. So I did go over the target I set myself, over the 4,100 words, whatever it was my target was as the total for the chapter. But this is quite a long chapter. There's quite a lot of things to happen yet. I reckon there's at least another 2,000 words to write, and I was hoping to do them today, but yeah, it's not going to happen. But that's fine. I've written another 2. The chapter is on something like 4,200. Noisy motorcycle going past outside. The chapter's on about 4,200 words now, and I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow morning. And see if I can try and finish it off. We shall see whether I manage. As I say, I haven't done something every day this week, So normally I give myself weekends off, but I'm going to do Saturday or Sunday as well writing. You'll still get this podcast as long as something else doesn't get cocked up. I mean, I could still technically hit 300 for this year. It's looking a little bit unlikely, but there we go. Right, so that's what I've achieved today. There is only, so what I'm hoping is that I'll finish the zero draft of chapter 30 tomorrow, and then do some editing, maybe start tomorrow, maybe over the weekend, and then at some point next week, preferably Monday. It was going to be at the weekend, but I just don't think I'm going to, because this has taken me, I thought I'd finish today and I haven't, but that's fine. I'd rather write it as I want it than rush it. So yeah, I'm thinking what I'll probably try and do over the weekend is just get chapter 30 moved from zero to first draft, get that first draft signed off, and then do what I'd really like to try and do the final chapter in a day next week, but we shall see. Right, that's it. The other thing I've done today, which I've really enjoyed, and I kind of vaguely showed people on the live stream earlier, I've got a couple of vinyl singles from when I was a kid. I mean, they're not the ones owned as a kid, but they're the same as the ones owned as a kid. They're in decent condition. So this morning I listened to Eighth Wonders, I'm Not Scared, which was wonderful. I've got a couple of Cicero singles from 1991, which was it was an artist that was produced by Pet Shop Boys, so they're very Pet Shop Boys. The singles are very Pet Shop Boys sounding, and I've also found a couple of Shaking Stevens from when I was very young in the early 80s. So I'm not going to listen to them all tonight, but I'm going to get a couple of singles listened tonight. Then I'm probably going to do some reading, and I need to cool down because the house is actually quite warm today. Anyway, thank you for listening. I'll be back at some point tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by me, Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my cogitative considerations, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my link tree on linktr.ee/Richard Writes. Capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.